What's going on, everybody? Halo Drama here, yet again, with another Rewind Rumble reaction video. I feel like I'm going to have to start slowing down when I say that, just so I know I can get it right and don't bite my tongue or some shit. Today is Broly from the Dragon Ball world versus Asura from Asura's Wrath. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with Broly. If you're not, he's the legendary Super Saiyan from the Dragon Ball universe. I'm familiar with Asura from Asura's Wrath. That was a game that was on Xbox 360, and it was an awesome game too. I still own that game to this day. Might have to pull that out and play that at some point, because it's a great game. I can see this is kind of a battle between two people that, almost just like the Hulk, they get stronger the more pissed off they get. You know, the more hurt they get or anything like that, they just keep getting stronger and more vicious, more bloodthirsty, if you would say. But shit, it's kind of hard to say who to give that to, because Broly is Broly. But I could say the same thing about Asura. Asura is Asura. The dude's strong as fuck. For anybody who has played the game, you know what I'm talking about. If you don't know what I'm talking about, or have never played the game, you should. Asura's Wrath. It's on the 360. Excuse me. I don't know if it's crossover to the Xbox One store or not. I have to look into that. So I really don't know how to call this. Let's go. Let's see what happens.
Rage. For some, their anger is a weakness, but for others, their fury can lead to their greatest strength, such is the case with Broly and Asura.
Both of these giant, powerful brutes are definitely
How the hell did he pronounce that dude's name? His name is
Asura.
Asura.
But when pitted against each other, only one will be allowed to walk out alive. Tonight, we Rewind Rumble!
Oh, I wanted to
I can only assume the person who said his name never played the game. Just reading from a script.
Let's start things off with Broly. When he was only born, this kid had a power level of 10,000.
Just out of the womb, and he's already stronger than Raditz.
He's also much stronger than Nappa. Isn't that worth noting too?
Yeah, but Raditz is just too easy of a target.
Fair point.
That's
anyway,
fair. Yeah, that's definitely
frightened by
fair.
the child's power, King Vegeta ordered Broly's execution and stabbed him through the chest with a dagger, as well as wounding Broly's father, Paragus, and leaving them both for
Wow,
dead.
his name is
Then came the
Paragus.
fateful moment when the tyrannical Lord Frieza sent his supernova attack towards planet Vegeta in order to destroy it. All hope seemed lost for Broly and his father, as their species was on the verge of extinction.
That's also going to make me think that whoever is narrating this
off the exploding planet.
has never seen the Broly movie.
A newborn child who just been stabbed in the chest.
Yeah, not even
Both
a year
of their
old,
names have
and he's
already been.
surpassed
Yeah,
basically
that's two
every
names
other
they've already
Saiyan
pronounced
alive.
wrong.
But how about Asura? Where'd he start off?
It's Asura.
12,000 years
But
before
no
the game
doubt.
took place,
Asura
lived a happy life. Believe it or not, but he wasn't always the roid rage monster we've come to know and love.
Asura isn't the kind of guy you expect to be a family man, but that's what he started out as. Living a normal, happy life with his wife Durga and his daughter Mithra.
Of course, a happy life doesn't always equal a peaceful one, and Asura certainly did see his fair share of action, and he did keep himself well trained.
But things took a turn for the worse for Asura when his daughter was appointed as priestess. This angered Asura, as he didn't want his own daughter to get involved in any kind of war.
Asura was then framed for killing the Emperor.
Yeah.
This is when things started to get real bad for the guy. His wife was murdered, his daughter was kidnapped, not to mention the fact that all of his godly powers were taken away, and he was banished into a world between life and death.
You mean purgatory. He was banished to purgatory.
Basically,
anyway,
yeah.
let's change gears for a moment and go back to Broly. More specifically, what kinds of abilities he has.
Like many other Dragon Ball characters, Broly is able to manipulate ki, which allows him to fly and launch energy attacks at his foes.
Some examples of his key attacks are the Eraser Cannon, a green energy ball which does a lot more damage than a basic ki blast. Broly can also launch a barrage of Eraser Cannons in order to hit with as much force as he possibly can.
But his greatest technique is the Omega Blaster, a tiny ball of green ki that Broly throws at his targets. As it travels, this ball drastically increases in size to the point where even Broly himself is tiny compared to it.
Not only can Broly use Ki for offense, but he can also use it very well defensively.
He can surround himself with a Ki barrier that can survive dips into molten lava and even withstood a family Kamehameha.
But Broly doesn't just rely on his Ki blast for his different techniques.
He did not withstand the family Kamehameha. That's actually what killed him. I don't know why they said that.
Throwing them, grappling them, and digging his knee into their spine, or just knocking them on the ground and jumping on them like they're a trampoline.
Asura has his fair share of abilities and techniques too, though
again, his name is Asura.
He still can fire.
They're killing me with that shit.
He's also a master martial artist.
Asura has some pretty useful techniques that he can use in battle, such as the rapid fire, which is exactly what it says on the tin. A bunch of energy blasts that Asura can launch rapid fire.
The lock-on fire is also quite self-explanatory. It's a bunch of energy blasts that lock on to whoever Asura fires them at.
There's also his burst technique. It releases a unique attack depending on the situation, kinda like a Bobo's full rage move in a Bobo's Big Adventure.
But what really matters for these guys is their raw strength, and there are more transformations they have that can boost their insane strength even further.
For Broly, he has access to the Super Saiyan form, which has basically become every Saiyan's birthright at this moment.
Yeah, but Broly has access to something nobody else does. The legendary Super Saiyan form.
Legendary Super Saiyan? But wasn't the original Super Saiyan form already considered legendary? And if so, does this mean Broly is a legendary Super Saiyan that Frieza feared?
Those are debates for another time. Let's talk about
those
Asura
are debates
and some
that
of his forms,
y'all don't want to have.
Asura.
Not only does this form immensely boost his strength, but it also gives him 2 extra sets of arms.
I'd have to start sending out angry emails because I know the Dragon Ball story. I can just hear from the way that they're talking that they would fuck that up.
Asura's potential internet search history.
Dear God, the depths your mind will sink to are unreal.
They're killing me, constantly mispronouncing his name.
Awkward, there's also Berserker Asura, though this form turns him into a savage beast and can be burnt out. It also gives him 2 extra sets of arms. But his Vajra form also gives him extra arms. Why would he use the Berserker form over that?
Well, yeah, but the arms that the Berserker form gives him are on fire.
I'm unimpressed.
They're also on his back, which means they can let him itch those hard-to-reach places.
Oh,
basically, he goes into psycho mode.
That's much more like it. Anyway, next up is Mantra Asura, the form Asura gains after bathing in the Mantra of Wrath.
While it doesn't give him any extra arms, it does give the 2 arms he has a whole lot of bulk.
But enough about all those forms that don't matter in the long run. Asura's greatest form is his Asura the Destructor form. Not only does it give him extra arms...
Seriously, what's with all the forms that have extra arms? And why is it just barely not enough for me to make memes about Asura being a spider?
Because that would be dumb. Anyway, not only does it give him extra arms, but this form even makes Asura bigger than the planet Earth itself, which is very impressive.
He can even shrink into a smaller version of this form. It looks like Mantra Asura, except it has 6 arms because we couldn't just have one form of Asura that didn't give him 6 arms.
Yeah, but what good is having all these forms of abilities if you can't do anything with them? So let's get into their stats. Starting with what Broly can do.
Broly is insanely strong. Even as a restricted Super Saiyan, Broly was able to destroy an entire galaxy, planet by planet, solar system by solar system, in just a few years. Stack his sand multipliers on top of that, there's no way Broly's gonna back off like some beta.
And it doesn't help anyone who Broly faces that his power is constantly rising, though his power does have a limit to how high it can get.
Broly is also incredibly tough to put down. His pain tolerance is insane. He shrugged off punches from Super Saiyans and even walked through Super Saiyan Goku's Kamehameha like it was lights or gusts of wind.
Yep, the power level of this guy is ridiculous. Even the combined efforts of Goku, Vegeta, Future Trunks, Gohan, and Piccolo struggled to even put up a fight against him. And that was before he got...
Man, that's my age showing. I remember when that came out back in the day, man. It was so hype.
Which increased his power even further.
Yeah, after the Zenkai boost, he was able to hold back a family Kamehameha from Goku, Gohan, and Goten.
But just because he's powerful doesn't mean he's slow. Broly is easily massively faster than light, being able to keep up with the likes of Goku, Gohan, Future Trunks, Piccolo, Vegeta, Goten,
and he was just taking those hits.
And he's proved that if he wanted to, he could easily avoid any attack thrown his way, as shown when he dodged a flurry of punches from Goku, Piccolo at once without even trying.
However, Broly clearly prefers to just tank these attacks head-on.
It
But
really
we'll get
does.
more into that soon. For now, let's discuss Asura.
Asura is incredibly strong, being able to hold back the finger of a being who towered over planet Earth. And he wasn't even in his final form.
He was also able to destroy a machine that has had immeasurable power. Then again, immeasurable isn't the same as infinite. Saitama is immeasurable, but he sure as heck ain't infinite. It's the same case here.
Asura is also
Saitama's
very difficult
ridiculous.
to put down. Not only can he destroy planets, stars, solar systems, and galaxies being thrown his way, but he can also tank them.
And his physicality increases with his wrath. When pushed to his absolute limit, he was able to defeat Chakravartin, who is basically God.
Much like
Yeah.
Broly, just because Asura is
That was a
strong,
hard
it
fight
doesn't
too,
mean
I do
he's
remember
slow.
that.
He's able to punch faster than the eye can see, cross the distance of 26,000 light years between Gaia and the center of the Milky Way in minutes, and even avoid celestial bodies like stars and galaxies being thrown at him by Chakravartin.
Both of these guys are monstrously powerful, blitzingly fast, and incredibly overpowered, but neither
Yeah.
are perfect, and both can be defeated.
Broly
That's
isn't
true
exactly
also.
a strategist, and he's overconfident to the point where he'll take attacks he could easily avoid.
He also has a weak spot on his abdomen, and just one powerful enough attack towards that area could put him out of commission.
And while his
Yeah,
power
that's where he
rapidly
got stabbed.
rises, there is a cap to how high it can reach. And if he reaches that peak, his ki could start to overflow and it could possibly leave him in serious danger.
As for Asura, he also isn't exactly a genius strategist, and his power comes entirely from his wrath. The angrier he gets, the stronger he gets.
Yep.
However, this means that when starting to battle, Asura won't be at his best.
Both of these characters are definitely forces to be reckoned with, but when pitted against each other and only one can survive, who will walk away the victor? It's time to rewind.
I wonder how it would be if they ever did like
I would really appreciate.
a three-way, no homo, between Broly, Asura, that's how his name is pronounced, and the Incredible Hulk. All three of them get stronger the more pissed off they get.
Appreciate it if you did not take my lines.
Well, that's too bad. Now let's get into this fight already.
And now, let's set ourselves a circumstance. Let's do humanity a favor and keep these two as far away as possible from populated zones, preferably a desert. No preparation, these guys won't use it anyway, at least not against each other. And one super important
Right.
thing that I can't make clear enough, this animation you're about to see is not a simulation. There's going to be forms and crazy things that aren't factored into the research. Once that circumstance
Okay.
bar has finally loaded, it's time
Oh,
to rewind rumble.
It was already loaded, you just kept talking. But I love your channel though, I do. This should be intense. Because these dudes are animals in their respective universes. Yeah. That's definitely awesome.
Kakarot. When let go of the back. I will kill you. Going to enjoy this.
Ready?
Damn. He does have a point there. Broly just attacks blindly because he knows he's so strong. Whereas Asura can actually fight. What the fuck? Super Saiyan 4? Not that this Broly was they're already showing the non-canon version of Broly. And then they have him transform into a non-canon form. It is what it is, I guess.
As out of your misery right now.
Asura has not changed yet. There you go. That was nowhere near it.
I'll destroy this entire planet.
Excuse me. Granted, I don't know why his daughter is there, but he's definitely all about his daughter. Oh yeah, if he sees his daughters down like that, he's gonna lose his fucking mind. Yep, there's that psycho mode. And just like, what?
Hopefully you enjoyed that animation, which was
I
not
like
simulated,
this series,
by the way.
but
And if you did,
they're starting to
super
kill
special
me with the way
thanks
that
to Team
they
Animation Rewinds,
with the way that
Just
they
Zeno.
do things
I'd also
sometimes.
like to thank a researcher and co-host of this episode, your favorite Canadian YouTuber.
Like I said, they
who
already
has
used the
his own
non-canon
series
version of
known as
Broly.
Show Off Showdown. This couldn't
And
be
made
done
him
without
and
the
had him
scriptwriter,
transform
researcher,
into a
MLG
non-canon
Avocado,
form.
and of course research from BTL Video Productions. Thanks, and enjoy the post-analysis.
And I know that's Asura's like basically like his psycho mode, and I get that, but that's still not stronger than the final form that he can use.
Oh boy, here come the
Granted,
Broly
don't get me
fanboys.
wrong. I can see why Asura beat him. Like, Broly is a beast. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, Asura has killed gods. Broly's no god.
Oh, come on. They can't be that bad.
No, you don't understand. They'll tear you limb from limb.
Maybe, just maybe they can be proven rational if we have a descriptive post-analysis.
I doubt it, but let's try and hope for the best.
Sounds good. Now let's start with speed. Broly may be fast enough to keep up with the massively faster-than-light Z fighters and cover a galaxy
How
in
the
just
hell
a
do
few
they know
years
that
while
Broly
he's
can lift
destroying it, but
32.2
Asura does
billion
top
tons?
this speed.
While covering the area
When
of
was
a
that ever
galaxy
covered?
is impressive, you want to know
Y'all are
what's even
making
more
shit up.
impressive? Reacting to galaxies being thrown at you by God. Broly is crazy fast, don't get us wrong, but he hasn't shown any speed feats that stack up to this.
When it comes to strength, Broly doesn't exactly have any impressive measurable lifting strength feats. The best we can do is compare them to Super Saiyan Goku after his battle with Cell, since that's when they fought.
As a kid, Goku was able to
Stop. Again, that Broly movie is not canon. So him saying that they fought after Goku fought Cell is completely incorrect. Technically, that movie didn't happen. That's in a totally different universe, timeline, whatever you want to call it. But his information is false. I'm sorry. I get a little emotional when I hear false Dragon Ball facts. I like that shit.
lift a giant boulder bigger than himself. If you remember back to Kid Goku vs. Classic Sonic back on Cartoon Fight Club, that boulder was estimated to weigh around 350 tons.
At the start of the Saiyan Saga, Goku had the power level around 416. Kid Goku had a power level of roughly 180, so an increase of roughly 2.3 times. This means that Saiyan Saga Goku could lift around 805 tons. After that, Goku was able to train under 10 times normal gravity on King Kai's planet, then 100 times normal gravity in the gravity chamber. This brings his maximum strength up to 80,500 tons.
I don't know if
Add
he
on
was
the Super
necessarily
Saiyan
in the
multiplier,
gravity
and that puts the
chamber.
lifting
He
strength
was
of
in a
Super Saiyan
spaceship
Goku during his fight with Frieza
headed
at
to Namek.
4,025,000
I wouldn't exactly
tons.
call that
It's unknown how much stronger
gravity
Goku
chamber.
got from the Frieza saga right before the Cell
It was a
game,
spaceship.
which is likely when the first Broly movie takes place since Gohan is a Super Saiyan and Goku is still alive. But let's give him the benefit of the doubt and say he grew in strength 100 times. This puts his strength at roughly
Oh my
around
God.
402,500,000 tons. And let's say Broly is
Calm
5
down.
times stronger than that. This puts Broly's strength at over 2 billion tons. If we assume his Zenkai boost he got after being beaten near the brink of death, after the first movie doubled his power, and add on the multiplier to Legendary Super Saiyan 3, that gives us a maximum lifting strength of 32,200,000,000
Legendary Super
tons
Saiyan
for
3
Broly.
also doesn't exist.
32.2 billion
That's
tons.
from a video
That's very
game.
impressive,
I think it was
but Asura
Raging
can
Blast.
definitely top that. Even when in just his base
could be
6
wrong.
arm form, he was able to hold back the finger of the planet-sized Wizen that was being pushed towards the
I do
planet.
remember that.
Ignoring the force that the rest of
Fucked
his
him
body
up,
was
too.
using to push the finger into the earth, this finger alone easily towered over mountains which can weigh billions of tons, and Asura was not only able to stop it dead in its tracks, but push it back.
That's
Yeah.
not even counting any of Asura's other forms. Heck, his Destructor form towers over Earth itself, so he should
Oh,
reasonably
I wish
be
they'd
able
have
to
showed
lift
that
it.
part.
And
He
the
started
Earth has a
punching the
mass
shit
of
out of
nearly
his finger, and it
6
ran
tons.
up his
So
finger, up
Asura
his arm,
clearly
and fucked
takes
him
the
up.
lifting strength edge.
In terms of striking strength and taking ki out of the equation and only looking at how hard they can punch, Broly was able to go toe-to-toe with the Z fighters, the strongest of which being Goku. Through scaling, this should make Broly at least multi-star level to Solar System level, since Super Saiyan Goku could fight nearly evenly with Perfect Cell, who should be around half the power of the Solar System level Perfect Cell, and Broly was able to casually toy around with Goku even when he had help from 4 other Z fighters.
But Asura has punched holes through
That's
galaxy-sized
fair.
enemies before, so the striking strength edge definitely goes to Asura.
But clearly, Broly is a lot more powerful and destructive when his ki is factored in, so let's see how that stacks up next to Asura.
Over the course of several years, Broly was able to destroy the
gosh.
entire South Galaxy as a restricted Super Saiyan. This doesn't exactly make him Galaxy level since he didn't do it all at once, but it does put him in the high ends of multi-solar system level.
I like these videos, but if I wanted this to end for any reason, it's because they keep pronouncing Asura's damn name wrong. That shit is bothering me.
But again, that is just a restricted Super Saiyan. He could have easily got the job done much quicker at full power.
So let's round that up and say Broly is Galaxy level. Asura was casually destroying galaxies during his battle with Chakravartin, and he was even able to fight on par with and defeat the guy. I don't know about you, but I haven't seen Broly do anything on that level of casual galaxy busting and beating the crap out of the universe's god.
So yeah, it's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
clear
true.
that Asura takes the power edge. The same applies to durability. Asura casually tanked galaxies being thrown at him, and even tanked hits from the same guy throwing these galaxies. Very impressive seeing that he's the creator of Asura's universe.
And Broly's ki output is mostly equal to the amount of force he can withstand. So while it's possible he could be able to take much more damage than he can dish out, and he could have durability that rivals Asura's, he doesn't seem to have any feats backing that up.
Intelligence is a tricky category to pick for, but it really isn't one that matters too much. Both are brutes that act purely out of rage. Asura
Yeah, true.
may be the better hand-to-hand fighter, but it's not like that's going to matter in the long run.
As for experience, Asura is over 12,000 years old. You
Yeah,
tell me
he's a
who's more
demigod,
experienced between
yeah.
the two.
Now, before we wrap things up, there are a few more points that need to be addressed.
While it's true
Please,
that Asura
make
needs to have his
sense.
wrath pushed to the limit for his greatest feats, and Broly could very well take down a base form Asura at the start of the battle, that's not exactly how Broly likes to fight his battles.
Broly is the kind of guy that will intentionally toy with someone just to piss them off and make them angry. And against Asura, that's the last thing you'd want to do.
Broly also tends to stand and tank attacks from opponents he perceives as weaker, and against someone who can do some serious damage to him like Asura, that mistake would be fatal.
Many of Asura's forms also give him extra arms, usually 6. That would give Asura enough arms to hold down Broly's limbs and still have a pair left over to beat him senseless with.
Also, unlike Broly, Asura doesn't have an exploitable weak spot. However, Broly does.
Yeah.
One last thing to point out is that when Asura reaches his limit, he's fine. But when Broly reaches his limit, his ki can start to overflow and he can be in some serious danger. Not to mention, Broly has an exploitable weak spot, is in danger when reaching his limit, and his fighting style is literally the worst one to use when fighting against someone like Asura.
And I think that's pretty much everything, so to sum it up, Broly may be very fast and powerful, but Asura takes pretty much every statistical advantage. So sorry,
I can see
Broly,
that.
you did put up a good fight, but in the end, you just ended up succumbing to Asura's wrath.
Oh my god, it's Asura's wrath. But anyway, that was actually a pretty good fight. You know, when it boils down to it, yeah, like I said, I can see Asura winning for sure. That dude's battled and beaten gods, and yeah, like you said, yeah, he's had galaxies thrown at him and took that shit to the face and still came back fighting, talking shit. Like I said, if you've never played it, you owe it to yourself. It's a really good game. Asura's Wrath on the Xbox 360. Like I said, I don't know if it's in the Xbox One store or not. I don't know if that moved up or not. But in any event, on to the next time when I have time. So until then, peace.